Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to a special episode of the All In Podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Eli Cooper. And as you can see, we are not recording this show remotely today. My guy, Mike Badzik, is literally sitting right next to me today. What's up, man?
Yeah, I'm here together in person. This is actually the first one we've ever done together. 36 episodes in, we finally got one together in the same room. So, yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, so we're here in Buffalo, New York, celebrating Crystal's birthday. Those of you who watch the Rated Bliss podcast, which is also on the All In Network, you can find on our website, allinnetwork.net. So we're here celebrating Crystal's birthday, who is Bliss from the Rated Bliss podcast. For those of you who follow the other shows on the All In Network YouTube channel or audio versions, which you can find on our website, allinnetwork.net. And Crystal is engaged to the guy on my right here, my guy Sean Turner. So we are at his place here in Buffalo, New York, bringing you our first in-person show. What's up, Sean? How's it going?
What's up, man? How you guys doing?
We love having you on the show, man. Thanks for coming. Thanks for letting us in your home.
Yeah,
Thanks. I got you.
Great place. Great place.
Nice building to get your part on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind making a 5-hour drive 2 times a week. So
Yeah, we can do that. We can write something.
Anyway.
5 hours, get to you.
So today we're going to be talking about some of the NBA playoff games. The second round is fully underway. The Heat have pushed the Bucks to the brink of elimination. We saw the Lakers go down 1-0 to the Houston Rockets. Denver evened up their series last night against the Clippers. And Toronto has come back from down 2-0 to even up their series. Mike was incredibly excited about that last night as we watched the game here. So I think that's probably the best place to start is with the Celtics and Raptors, because that has been the best series so far here in the second round.
Yeah, and I thought it was over, and I said on this podcast that I don't see how Toronto wins the series. I actually went back and I picked the Celtics. Now I'm looking like an idiot going back to my Raptors, but I guess I should have known, keep the faith. The guards have stepped up in a way like game 1 and 2. Like I was so worried about the matchups, and you're just looking at it and you're going, our little guards, Van Vliet and Lowry, like when they drive, like they're just not getting those calls they were in the regular season.
Right.
Like they're just not getting those calls in the playoffs, and it just makes it tough when you have such, Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart guarding those guys, or Jason Tatum guarding Lowry a lot of the time.
Yeah. And
Jason Tatum is certainly a capable defender. Like it was tough, and then the shots started falling. Siakam has actually started to play like we expected him to play. Or we at least knew he was capable of. Nick Nurse. I think this kind of just adds to his resume. Even if they lose this series now, it's still like, okay, Nick Nurse was at least he was a good enough coach. Like they got 2 in a row. Like they fought hard. Like I think this would put to bed. Like even if they lost the next 2, I think we're not going to look at this Raptors team and say they weren't on the same level as the Celtics. Like these games, all the games really could have gone. Game 1 was a blowout. I mean, they made 8 more threes. Like that's what happens. Right. But all the other games have been close. So yeah, I'm back on the Raptors train. I mean, I'm afraid to say it now. I feel like I'm going to jinx them again. But yeah, man, I'm loving it.
I mean, I think it also makes you rethink what the end of our last episode where we talked about them blowing it up if they lose, because like they go 7. I mean, you're a piece away from getting back to the conference finals, really, and the MVP is getting swept in the other Eastern Conference series. So, like, do you explore those? I don't know that you'll have the cap space, but if he wants to force his way out, I think Toronto could make a move for Giannis.
Hey, don't get me excited, man.
You know what I mean? That's just it could happen.
Yeah. I mean, it could happen, and I think Giannis, when they talk about his potential landing spots, I think he likes Toronto. He's familiar with Masai through the African basketball leagues.
Yeah.
It's been – I think that it's an interesting narrative because normally the free agent targets aren't really looking at Toronto. Mm-hmm. But because of that connection with Masai, and I think Masai, maybe when he stayed, he probably looked at his roster and said, I don't know, but I know a guy that might have a connect. Maybe I can get somebody here. And, he's done a really good job in the draft too. So I think Giannis, if he's looking for the best organization to go to, like, I don't know. I mean, Toronto, I think right now, if you're ranking franchises, they're a top 5 franchise and how they develop these guys. Their G League affiliate is always one of the best teams. Nick Nurse was the G League coach before he coached the Raptors.
Yeah.
I think I would, if I was Giannis, I would very much be interested in that.
So, back to the series. I don't know. I'm still going to stay with what I think. I think I had Celtics at 7 originally. My thing is, the Raptors still look a little bit out of sorts offensively. Like, I don't think they shot the ball that well last night. And Siakam was much more aggressive, but he was still inefficient, 10 for 23 points. But the aggression from Siakam is what you want to see. And maybe, after evening up the series, that boosts his confidence. But like we also mentioned in our last episode, is like, I still think Tatum and Kemba, are Kemba down the stretch is the best player in the series, and I think Tatum overall is the best player in the series. Down the stretch, I think he is, man. I think he, other than Jimmy Butler, I don't think anyone down the stretch has been better than Kemba Walker in this play.
Something you said about that, yeah.
So,
I take Lowry.
I take Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I take Jimmy Butler.
Well, no, I mean, but after Jimmy Butler.
After Jimmy,
In crunch time, just in crunch time alone.
I take Kemba. He's just cold.
Yeah.
But you know who we're not even considering? Like, not even came to our mind? The back-to-back MVP.
Oh, yeah,
But,
absolutely.
but like, I wouldn't take him. I would say, one of like the last 5 minutes of the playoff game, it's tied. Like, I'm okay on the Giannis thing. Like, I want a guy I trust to get a bucket. I think if I was just ranking them in the East, I think I'd go Jimmy Butler and maybe Jason Tatum second.
Yeah.
I don't know. And Giannis just isn't that guy. Maybe Bam would be up there too.
I think that's an excellent transition into the Bucks and Heat series.
Yeah.
Heat, obviously, they came out with a third straight win against the Bucks, and Giannis is now questionable for Game 4. Is it time to get the brooms out? Is it over tonight?
Sean?
I think it's just by the time.
Yeah.
This Miami team they're really good. And they got a lot of shooters. They got guys that can handle the ball and make some plays when they're going to the bucket.
Yeah.
I don't see them running without Giannis. They can't beat him with him. I already said,
Yeah, if Giannis doesn't play.
I already said some of it falls on Chris Middleton show because you kind of expect a little bit more out of kind of your number 2 guy.
I think he's played well.
Yeah.
It's Giannis is the one that's been bad, and then the rest of their supporting cast has been pretty bad. Other than Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez had a pretty good game. But, Giannis just hasn't been good.
No.
And it's because he's so easy to defend in the playoffs. Unless he has elite shooters around him.
Cat's going by.
Get him. Unless he has elite shooters around him that can space the floor, he can't really get all the way to the rim like he wants to. And his jump shot issue is more than just him not being able to hit threes. Like, he can't really score from the mid-range area. He can't face you up and shoot over you from the mid-range area like Anthony Davis or, KD or even Kawhi. You know what I mean? Even LeBron. Like, when those guys catch in the mid-post area, which is a similar area where Giannis has caught the ball a lot, especially in this series.
Yeah.
But he can't just rise up over you and knock that shot down. I think if he could at least do that, we're looking at a whole different series because that's way more difficult to defend.
Yeah.
But he's not one of those guys who has that, when I get to my spot on the floor, there's nothing you can do. Because his spot on the floor is the rim. And if he can't get all the way there, he's almost useless on the offensive end.
And we said this about Giannis is like 3-point shooting and the jump shot. Like, if it could ever come, like, he's unstoppable, right? He's already back-to-back MVP. He's putting up Shaq numbers. But, like, if he could just get the jump shot, the jump shot didn't come. He was better this year. Back-to-back MVP. But, like, I look at his jump shot and I'm thinking, like, okay, like, if our thinking is if the jump shot comes, like, when the jump shot comes, so when the jump, like, do I sure the jump shot is going to come? Like, this isn't like a thing. Like, we always say this about every player. Where we just fix the jump shot. It's like, how many of those guys actually fix the jump shot? Like, I bet you're at a less than 25% clip of guys. Let's just think about all the guys that came out and like, they're so athletic and lanky, but we just got to fix the jumper, and then the jumper never comes.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is the thing. They always say that's the easiest thing to fix. It's incredibly hard.
Yeah.
It sounds easy to fix. Like, I could just put a bunch of shots up. Like, no, you have to put the right kind of shots up, every day.
Even the way he shoots, it almost would take an entire overhaul.
Yeah.
Like, just the way he shoots is just too awkward and slow to ever be a good 3-point shooter or mid-range shooter. Like, you have to be able to get it off quicker.
Right.
So yeah, I think it'll take an overhaul. That's why I'm not confident in it happening. I think if you're close, like we can look at certain guys' jump shot and say, oh well, yeah, like Luka, right? Like Luka is a good example. He shot like 31% from three. Like, okay, if he could get that 3-point shot, he's going to project to be so amazing, and we do think he's going to be so amazing because we look at him shoot the ball and we say like, oh yeah, like it's there.
Yeah.
He's got to fix something to make a couple more out of 100, right?
Yeah.
To be honest, it's like we look at it and it's like, what are we going to do with that?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Let's scrap it, I think.
Yeah.
So, but that's like a big transition. I don't know if that ever comes.
Yeah. Especially when it's that level of broken. You know, one of the first guy that comes to my mind is like Rondo. You know what I mean? Like how often young Rondo did we say, if Rondo ever gets the jump shot, he's the best point guard in the league. And his jumper is better than it was, maybe, but like it never really, came. I think the only person who I've ever really seen drastically develop into a shooter was Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
You know, and when Jason Kidd was their head coach, Giannis actually had a pretty decent looking shot. Like I went back and I watched like old videos of Giannis and his shooting form. It was at least all one motion.
Yeah.
It wasn't like broken. Now he was skinnier, and maybe the lifting impacted that.
I think it does.
But I don't know. The guys get stronger and get better.
Yeah.
LeBron's a lot stronger.
Yeah, but we've seen LeBron's jump shot evolve as he's gotten bigger and stronger too.
Right.
Like his jumper when he was a rookie looked a lot different than it did by the time he got to Miami, which even looks different than it does now.
Right.
We've seen him improve as a 3-point shooter the whole time throughout that, while also, at least over the first 10, 12 years of his career, just putting on huge amounts of muscle and being able to bully guys. We saw Giannis put on a huge amount of muscle.
Yeah.
Like that's why I like the free throw shooting. Like it's almost like he just does, he's like the Hulk and he doesn't know how far he's gonna go.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't know how far it's gonna go. He's like so shaky. So yeah, he's got to adjust to that though. Yeah, the Bucks are done. I think it's over. I mean, 3-0.
I think they're done. I would say Giannis, the tough thing with it, like you was mentioning when we was off air, is like where he's catching the ball at. And if he's not catching the ball in his spots or he's not catching you in transition going downhill, he's fairly easy to guard because he can't take you and put you in like a post game and beat you that way. So yeah, I would say it's tough. I think it's over for the Bucks, especially if he doesn't play. But I already say even if he does play, yes, I think he's over either way.
But you make a good point about how to defend Giannis and like the get downhill and around like the Bucks went around. Like, well, that really starts on defense, right? Like you have to get stopped to be able to run. Otherwise, you're going to be playing 5-on-5 on a half-court set. Like they just haven't been able to get the stops. Like we saw this with Toronto in game 1 and 2 against the Celtics. Like Toronto is one of the best fast break offenses too, but they couldn't get out and run because Boston in game 1 just kept hitting shots.
Yeah.
And in game 2, like it was just tough possessions. Like and we just couldn't get out and run.
Yeah. So let's put ourselves in Giannis' shoes. Tonight, your series finishes up. You just got swept in the second round.
Yeah.
Second year in a row, losing as the number 1 seed in the East. 1 year left on your contract, so 2021, you're a free agent. However, it's obviously not looking like Milwaukee's going to get it done for you.
Yeah.
You forcing your way out this year, or are you playing out your contract?
From Giannis' perspective, where I would probably be looking to do is get out of Milwaukee, but I think he's going to be more one of the guys that finishes out that contract. I don't think he forces a move before that. Yeah. And then this is the market as a free agent. I think he's going to probably handle it like a professional way instead of kind of like forcing his way right out. But no, I would be looking to get out of Milwaukee.
Okay, so piggyback question. If you're Milwaukee and you don't think he's going to re-sign in 2021, do you trade him?
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is actually like we look at this like all the time, and we're like, the player forcing their way out of a contract early is like so selfish. And like whatever, you can say what you want about how long you're going to attach your contract. Like Paul George with 2+ deals left on his deal, like saying I'm out. Like yeah, we could probably question about that. But because he did that 2 years out, they got to haul back for him. Like the more time left on that contract, the more you're going to get back. So it actually is beneficial for the team for them to tell earlier, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm the Bucks, I look at it and I'm like, we want to do everything we can to sign Giannis. If I'm Giannis, I'm thinking I'm not going to win here. So do I force my way out and say you have to trade me? I don't think he does that. I don't think Giannis does it. He doesn't. I feel like he likes Milwaukee. I think he honestly thinks he can win in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Even if they lose this series.
Yeah. As I already said, I think that's the kind of guy he is. I think he'll probably swing it. If he is looking to leave in free agency, I think that's how he'll handle it.
So me personally, I feel I'd be doing the franchise a favor by forcing my way out. Because like you said, Paul George or the Thunder got a ton back for Paul George. Actually, even the Pacers got a good deal back for Paul George when he got traded the first time. Actually, we should talk about that later because for some reason Paul George's teams don't get any worse when he leaves. Anyway, back to Giannis though. He. I mean, if he doesn't do it publicly, right? And he kind of goes to Milwaukee management and says, "Listen, we're probably not going to get this done." You know what I mean? So I don't think I'm going to re-sign here in 2021. Here's a list of places I want to go. If you can make it happen, make it happen.
Yeah.
But if not, you're going to lose me in 2021 for free. You know what I mean? And that way, you don't lose any trade leverage, right? Because the public doesn't necessarily know. Maybe it's just the Bucks realizing, we don't want to lose Giannis for nothing in 2021.
Right.
And you look at some options, and you can still get a decent haul. I mean, you get a very good haul back for him if it's not public, I think.
Well, maybe because right now the succession rate on we're going to trade a haul for the superstar, and then hopefully after that 1 year he resigns with us. That's the idea, right? We trade the haul because we think we have a good chance to take the sign-on term. Right? That's batting 1,000 right now. That's happened every time that one of these trades has happened. The guy has signed long-term with a new team. Right? So I think Giannis' trade market, one, depends a lot on that. And if Anthony Davis leaves, if the Lakers lose, which we'll talk about the Lakers probably here next, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If the Lakers lose and Anthony Davis says, "I'm out of here," but we saw what the Lakers gave up for 1 year of Anthony Davis, we're going to look at this and say, I don't know if I'm going to give up this much for Giannis, even if it's for 1 year.
Yeah, that's a good
I think I can win a championship. I don't know if I want to give up that much. And then him walk as the player empowerment era evolves, or we're going to see a team walk away from a deal like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically we saw it with Kawhi in Toronto. Although they didn't give up too much for him. Really.
But they won the championship.
Right, and then they won a title out of it. So, but long term, well, you didn't really give up anything that hurt you long term, and you're still in the same place you were last year.
We missed DeMar, though.
Yeah, you certainly missed DeMar.
We missed DeMar.
It certainly didn't hurt you. You know what I mean? You got a championship out of it. So, yeah, you're right. It's batting 1,000. But if Anthony Davis doesn't, you know what I mean, keep that 1,000%.
He might leave. They lose to the Rockets. I don't know.
Especially because the Lakers really don't have any flexibility, but we'll get to that. So if I'm in Giannis' shoes, I would try it. I'd probably try to force my way out. And especially because Golden State has the number 2 pick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the teams on my list. And honestly, if we're talking about like maximizing Giannis' talents, Golden State would be the place that you do that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no other team that he would be a better fit for than Golden State. It's similar to KD, but obviously he's not as good as KD. But still, number 2 pick, Andrew Wiggins.
I think a lot of
Minnesota's 2021 pick.
I think they might do it. I think
maybe Jordan Poole.
It would have to be a big haul, I'm sure.
Yeah.
To get him to go to the Warriors, it has to be a big haul. They have the assets to do it as of right now. I don't think he should get that stuff. I mean, if he wins the chip, he's going to how KD got treated. He's going to be like, "Do I want that treatment?" It would probably be different. It wouldn't be as bad. I don't think. For him, as
because he didn't lose to that.
He didn't lose to them, right? But that's tough. That's tough. I hope that he forces his way out. Oh, yeah. If he loses.
I think that makes for a great NBA offseason, which we get a bunch of those. By the way, speaking of the Warriors' number 2 pick, article out right now on allinnetwork.net about the 5 possible top 5 trades Golden State could make in a number 2 pick. Make sure you guys check that out. Article by me, of course. Shameless promotion, I'm sorry. Let's get over to the Western Conference. And since we are talking about the Lakers, shocking Game 1 loss to harder than the Rockets, or maybe not shocking. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the polar opposite play styles are showing themselves here, and Rockets take game one. Obviously, they played at a faster pace, hit more threes. Lakers offense struggled. Yeah. Is this are we seeing what happened with Portland, or is this deeper than that?
I think it's closer to being what we saw with Portland than it is to being a deeper problem. I think game one, they were on a little bit of a break. Houston was, they're just playing every other night now. Similar to Denver, who we saw have a great performance last night too. We'll see how game two goes today. I think this will be a telling game. If you go down 2-0 to Houston, that's tough because you're basically saying that we're going to shoot better than you 4 out of these next 5 games.
Yeah.
Which is not a safe bet to make against Houston, right? And the amount of threes that they shoot kind of makes it hard to even match that. But I think the Lakers will turn it around. I think Anthony Davis is going to play the 5 more. There was a report after this game that Chris Haynes reported for Yahoo that he's going to start playing the 5 more, even though he doesn't want to. Finally, I guess he'll do it in this series. Kind of has to. PJ Tucker did a really nice job.
Yeah.
PJ Tucker did a really good job. So in game one, I think Lakers will get game 2 today, and then it's going to be a whole different series. I'm still sticking with Lakers in 6 and 9.
Yeah, I'm staying Lakers in 6. I think I would say Lakers in 7, even if they lose tonight. I don't think the Rockets' play style is sustainable. Yeah. And I think the Lakers, even if they lose tonight, have the ability to make the necessary adjustments to combat the Rockets' play style. But at the end of the day, there's nothing the Rockets can do to guard Anthony Davis. You know what I mean? On a consistent basis. Or LeBron, right? So, when those two and again, LeBron is 0 point fourth quarter. We're probably not going to see that for the rest of the series. I get that it happens for him. But you know what I mean? And only 20 points. Yeah, he would. So he's going to watch a little bit of Undisputed and come out with, some fire, I think, especially in game 2. So I do think they bounce back tonight. Yeah. But we're going to see more dominant performances from LeBron and AD. But yeah, it's when you're playing a team that's the polar opposite of your play style, it's always difficult in that first game, especially like you said, Houston's been playing, over the last few days while the Lakers have been resting. So they're coming into this game with momentum. And for a team that shoots 3 a lot, that's exactly what you want. But eventually that's going to shift. So I'm still sticking with the Lakers as well. I think game 1, a little bit of a fluke. We're not going to see LeBron AD wasn't bad, but we're not going to see LeBron play that bad for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I'm on board. I already say I think Lakers bounce back. LeBron having a 0.44, I just don't think we're going to see it very often. I don't think so. I don't think this team is going to have to be. But you compare it to Portland, right? I think the slight difference is this Lakers team has the ability, because if they move 80 to the 5, I think they have the ability and guys to be able to guard that play style that the Rockets have. And I think with AD at the 5, we can just feed them. When they were playing with KC, maybe you can't get Steven Adams 30 touches, definitely, but I can give Anthony Davis 30 touches. Right. And I think they can beat them up. Really, one of the strong points in the Lakers game is how good they are in transition. And the Rockets, with some smaller guys, can probably outplay them in that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but I think the Lakers bounce back. And today, tied up.
The other thing is if they're finally acknowledging that Anthony Davis needs to be at the 5, he's going to be at the rim more for rim protection, right? So I think that kind of helps the Lakers' perimeter defenders kind of be like, okay, let's run these guys off the line. Even James Harden to an extent, let's make him drive into Anthony Davis, Dwight, and JaVale, and make them play a 2 versus 2 game instead of us 3 versus 2. You know what I mean? 3s versus 2s. Yeah. So and you don't want to give up easy layups, but you can kind of rotate your defense to where you pressure guys on the perimeter, make them go by, help force kicks, and then rotate. But I think having Anthony Davis back there protecting the rim is better than even Steven Adams, like you said in the previous series, being back there to protect the rim. Plus, he can also then close out on shooters because he has, the foot speed. So,
yeah, and how many of those Rockets guards have the ability to like a mid range or different? Something besides like a layup and a three.
yeah, the only person who really shoots mid range at all for them is Russ. And
he's not great.
he's not even great.
Right,
So,
I'll live with that.
that's kind of what you want. You want to kind of funnel them into like, all right, well, you're either gonna have to finish over Anthony Davis or pull up from mid range, which I know you don't want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, so maybe that's kind of the defensive approach that they take.
Yeah.
To even things out because the last thing the Rockets want to do is get into a game where it's possession by possession twos versus twos. You're losing that, especially with Ant Davis and LeBron.
Yeah.
That's not something you want to get into with them.
Right.
So last series going on here in the second round is Denver versus the Clippers. And to everyone's surprise, because after the game one blowout, everyone thought this was going to be a sweep.
Except for myself. I didn't think so.
I said Clippers in 5.
I bet on the Nuggets last night, to be clear. To win the game, and they did, okay? So I had a lot of faith in those guys. I had a lot of faith.
I did like the Nuggets. I did a bracket. I had the Nuggets going to the second round, so I picked them. I think I picked Clippers in 6, though. No, I don't think they're going to win.
I think the Clippers are going to win the series, yeah. I think so.
Yeah, the Clippers are going to win the series. But I specifically had people mention me saying, because I tweeted Clippers in 5 before that series started, and then someone tweeted me after the game saying star 4. Wrong. Okay, but but here's why. This is why. The reason I specifically picked them at 5 is because the Clippers take nights off.
Yes.
And they do it often. Whether someone's hurt or not, Kawhi Leonard will take a night off. He had 13 points last night.
Yeah.
And was pretty bad. Lowest. I think they said that's the lowest he's had in a playoff game since 2016 or something like that. Which is, that. But he does that sometimes, right? It's just you kind of have these performances. I don't know that you always have them in the playoffs from him, but
Paul George does though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was my thinking. Is I think they'll go 6, and I think Denver wins game 2 just because the chance of the Clippers taking a night off and losing is much higher than another blowout. I think.
Yeah.
I just know that the Clippers second round they might be the best team. They might very well be the best team in the league, but sometimes and them and the Lakers are really following each other. If you look at the schedule of Lakers game and Clippers game, they follow each other. It's weird. When one team loses, the other team will lose. When one team looks great and blows the team out, the other team will follow with a blowout the next day. So I just looked at it and I was like, they're going to take the foot off the gas.
Yeah.
And they did, but they're going to win the series. They're the better team.
Right, yeah. It's weird that the Clippers got the 2nd seed and by far have had the easier road here through the West.
Yeah.
Of their first round series. The Blazers were the Mavs were the. But coming into it, people thought the Blazers were the tougher series.
Yeah.
Right, because of how well they were playing. Although the Mavs obviously proved that they were the better.
And they were. They were.
But even here in the second round, the Nuggets are for either of those teams is a much preferable matchup than the Rockets. The Rockets, I think, scared everybody.
Yeah, but maybe just because of the differences in the matchup.
Right.
But Denver is pretty good. Especially Jamal Murray. If he's so inconsistent, he was good last night. Third one game 1, but he was good last night. And if he's good, typically they win. If he's good, if he's 25, 30 plus, the Nuggets are going to be in good shape. And he's inconsistent, so that's why I think that ultimately they're not going to be able to do it. But he definitely keeps them in any game.
Yeah. So I said 5. I wouldn't be surprised if they go 6, like you said, because it'll be the thing where they win the next 2, drop another one. And we should have saw game 2 coming because especially after a blowout, if there's any time that a team takes their foot off the gas, it's when they blow a team out in a game 1 and they're like, oh, we're gonna win this easy. Right. Which isn't the case. The Nuggets are still gonna fight back. They have a talented team, like we said. And
what's the likelihood of Nuggets take game 2 or game 3? Sorry,
Game 3.
What's the likelihood?
Well, I said that's it. What are the odds? I wonder. Probably, but I would think probably. You look at a same thing, 9-point spread.
Yeah.
3-1 if the Nuggets win. Just because I don't think we looked at that game and said the Clippers aren't as good as we thought they were. It was the Clippers did that thing they do sometimes.
Yeah, right.
They take a night off and then we're back. That's how it's been.
Yeah. Nick Wright's probably having a field day. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's all the topics we had. Just those are the 4 series, right?
Yep. Yeah, we covered everything. So, we'll see how the rest of the playoffs here plays out. Probably looking at a Heat versus
Raptors.
Raptors or
Heat
Celtics.
versus Raptors.
I think that's going to be a heck of a Eastern Conference Finals, if you ask.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, but the Western Conference
Raptors.
Finals is probably going to be Lakers and Clippers, which is going to be just as good.
And LA.
Like, I think we look at that and we say, like, okay, the West is definitely better, right? Like, if it's not the Bucks in the East, like, I think we're going to end up with a Western Conference champion probably.
I think if humor me in this scenario, Rockets Heat final. Who you got winning that?
Heat. Dude, the Heat might be like the favorite right now. I mean, what we saw from the Lakers in Game 1 against Houston, the Clippers, what we saw in Game 2 against Denver. Toronto and Boston seem like a wash right now.
Yeah.
And the team that had the best record in the league and the 2-time MVP is about to get swept by Miami. Like, they might be the favorite. Like, I'm telling you, their roster is unbelievable.
Yeah, so deep.
They got shooters and they got dogs too.
That's why coming into the series, I was telling everyone to watch out for the Heat and I've seen it all year because throughout the regular season they kept beating the shit out of the Sixers. So it was just like didn't matter who played. Like what Jimmy sat out one time, they still beat us, and I was like, you have to be kidding me. This team is really that deep.
Yeah.
So
They're great.
yeah, the Heat. I think the Heat are the scariest team in the playoffs right now. Yeah, if you ask me.
Definitely the hottest.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps up today's show. Sean, thanks again for joining us, man. We appreciate you coming on as always.
Of course, man.
This was fun, man. We finally got to do this in person.
Yes, we did. And we are in person. And also, I just wanted to note for the listeners, last night, right, we're playing this game.
Piccolo.
And we did a push-up contest between our college athlete, built Rick Post, and versus Eli. And as you would have guessed, I won, of course. I'm shocked.
Push-up king.
I won't say how many we did or how few he did, but just know that I won.
All right. Well, I feel like I have to defend myself.
No.
What's in the bag? Lost.
Can I just get
No.
a reason?
No, I don't want to
No,
hear
I
it.
want to hear.
Yes,
What
what?
All right, so what happened was
He's lying right off the rip.
we were not in sound mind and body.
I was not.
We're not of sound mind and body. Mike babysits his drinks.
No.
I don't. Mike went to bed at 9:30 the night before.
Come on
He was
now.
well rested.
Tell the truth.
He was well rested coming into this matchup. I'm coming off a 7-game series of drinking and partying. I'm trying to recapture my college days. So,
I listen to this. I listen to this.
no chance she's listening to this one.
No, but he's right. I hit the hay early because I know I had a big day the next day. I had a big day. Excuse me if one of you were arrested for my big push-up competition.
I took a night off. I pulled it quiet. I had 13 points last night.
It was bad.
It's okay.
Guys. It was
We're gonna run it back.
No, you know what? It happens. I get it. Dad life.
Yeah, dad life. Dad life, dad bod. Who does push-ups here?
How's it feel being the second strongest co-host?
I'm still the all-time leading scorer of the podcast. Still the biggest bucket.
We have to prove that. We don't have any proof of that right now. We definitely saw the push-up contest.
We saw it.
Right?
All right.
Someone can give verification.
There's no proof that I lost the push-up contest either. So this is all
No, there's
speculation.
proof.
Snapchat or data.
The Holy Spirit saw it and recorded it.
Jesus is watching.
All right, but again, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the All In Podcast. We appreciate you guys, staying with us and tuning in so far. You can catch our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, Anchor for audio platforms. Also available on YouTube. If you go to our website, allinnetwork.net, all of that stuff is there for you. The links for those, you can find our merch. The Rain and Bliss merch is also available there. And you can check out the article that I shamelessly promoted earlier top 5 trades the Warriors can do with their number 2 pick.
That's a fun one.
It was so fun to write that.
Yeah, that's a cool topic. I like those like fake trade stuff. It makes good content.
So we will see you guys again probably on Thursday.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys Thursday. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.
Here at the All In Podcast, we love talking about sports. That's pretty much our main topic. And in sports, you need to be reliable. Well, what's more reliable than Tavon's Lawn Care, LLC? It's a Black-owned family business in York, PA. Tavon's Lawn Care, or TLC for short, since they provide each job with tender love and care, has been in business for over 10 years. Founded by owner Tavon Parker, TLC aims to provide employment for underprivileged youth while providing great service at a reasonable rate. You can visit TavonsLawnCareLLC.com or Tavon's Lawn Care on Facebook and Instagram to view their portfolio and request your cost-free quote now. So if you need any kind of lawn care or landscaping job, visit Tavon's Lawn Care for your landscaping needs.